Okay, so first of all, depending on which part of the globe you currently are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night to everyone, and sincere and warm welcome to the third Biotremology Conference. It seems that the charm of the third time lucky is still working, since after postponing the conference twice due to pandemic, we are finally now again among like-minded friends who really know how important vibrational behavior really is. It's been 4 years after our last conference, so it's probably worthwhile mentioning our beginnings and what happened in the intervening times. Oops. Oh, okay. So the very beginning of the name of the word biotremology can be traced back to 2014, when in his preface to the book Studying Vibrational Behavior, John Endler pointed out that our field of research lacks a proper name and proposed word tremology. 2 years later, biotremology was officially introduced by Peggy Hill and Andreas Wessel in a primer published in Current Biology, where they defined it as a discipline of study of mechanical communication by surface-borne waves. The same year, we also held the first Biotremology Conference, organized by Valerio Mazzoni at San Michele in Italy, where contributions were dedicated to spiders, insects, frogs, and mammals. The second Biotremology Conference in 2018 was again organized by Valerio and his group in Rival del Garda, where contributions covered phylogenetically much wider range of animal taxa. The third Biotremology Conference was officially scheduled for 2020, and I can only say that it had a really good start, even if it was a bit late. But what happened in between? We published a call to all biotremologists to submit their proposal for biotremology logo, and after receiving many excellent designs and really difficult deliberations, we now have our own biotremology logo that we can all use when it's needed. One of the tasks set at the last conference was to publish another Springer book dedicated to vibrational behavior. We actually managed to publish 2 books, one in 2019 and the other one earlier this year. And the second book is dedicated to Mattia Gogala, and I'm really happy that he is with us also for this conference. When it became obvious that we wouldn't be able to organize proper live conference in 2021, we organized instead once a month online Biotremo talks, and you can find the recordings of these talks on Biotremology YouTube channel. This graph is taken from the introductory chapter to the third Biotremology book, and it shows that conferences and books increased the use of word biotremology in wider scientific community, and consequently also increased the visibility of our research field. While for some of us, biotremology is a word with which we identify from the very start of our careers, for others, terms like vibrational or seismic communication, or maybe even communication by substrate-borne sound, are still more familiar. Here I will add, maybe a bit controversially to some, but we should also be aware that biotremology didn't suddenly rise completely fledged from nothing, but that it is firmly and inextricably linked to research on vibrational communication starting in the middle of the previous century. However, biotremology is undoubtedly more inclusive since it covers all types of vibrational behavior, not only intraspecific communication. But what we would like to achieve with this conference, and why do we need meetings dedicated exclusively to biotremology in the first place? Well, one issue is that we need to establish a sense of biotremological community. We should keep in mind that biotremology is nevertheless still an emerging discipline which will become as strong and recognized in wider scientific community as well as by funding bodies, as much effort we will put in representing biotremology as a whole, not only as our individual research topics. In comparison with the previous conference, the taxonomic breadth of contributions this year shrank, and presentations are focused almost exclusively on arthropods, with notable exception of birds. So I sincerely hope that at the next conference we will again expand our collective vision, because we really have to develop common biotremological concepts and maybe even paradigm. One important task for us, members of biotremological community, in our role as reviewers of manuscripts and grant proposals, is to impress on other reviewers, editors, as well as funding bodies that biotremological topics also deserve competent biotremological reviewers. And biotremology is a very fast developing field, and we will also have to continue developing and adapting our own terminology. For example, we already introduced as a counterpart to ecoacoustics, ecotremology, as a discipline studying substrate vibration in the environment in order to comprehensively assess and reliably predict ecosystem changes, thus providing invaluable information to conservation biology. We also introduced term semiophysicals as opposed to semiochemicals in applied in pest management as stimuli used to manipulate the behavior of agricultural pests. Biotremology is undoubtedly a really exciting research discipline, and I can say this without a complete prejudice. We are privileged to work with a communication channel with very long evolutionary history, as well as with communication modality that is an evolutionary result of interactions between physical properties of the environment and animals' anatomy, physiology, and behavior. We also have on our side the power of numbers and diversity. Mechanoreceptors able to detect substrate vibrations are ubiquitous, and it is highly likely that vibrational information present in the environment is available to the majority of organisms, and with this, I don't mean only animals. We are also good at you also have the opportunity to transfer our basic research into application, because our study species are also important agricultural pests. We are also good at capturing attention and imagination of general public, because we work with animals, with charismatic animals like elephants and jumping spiders. And last but not least, vibratory world, hidden to our senses but full of unknown and fascinating signals, is also inspire many artists. But we should keep in mind that the evolution of vibrational behavior, exemplified here as intraspecific communication, takes place in a complex, dynamic, natural vibratory world where abiotic environmental factors as well as anthropogenic vibrations play an important role. But with this big picture, we still have to fill many details, like, for example, details of signal production and vibration receptor mechanisms in many taxa. Signal production mechanism is directly linked to energetic costs of signaling and trade-offs between signaling effort and survival, and this in turn provide information about processes driving sexual selection and ultimately also speciation. On the other hand, thresholds and frequency sensitivity of vibroreceptors, as well as processing of vibrational signals in the central nervous system, provide us with information how animals themselves perceive vibratory world in which they live. And what they can perceive depends on specific transmission properties of the substrate through which their signals are propagating. Such complex picture shouldn't frighten us, but we should take it as a great opportunity for many groundbreaking studies in collaboration with scientists from many different disciplines. Taking into account the enormous diversity of organisms relying on vibrational information, research in biotremology should offer numerous opportunities to unravel mechanisms that are central, not only understanding behavior, but also the world around us in general. At the end, I would first like to thank our sponsors, LB Acoustics with Polytech and BioGuard. Without Polytech vibrometers and BioGuard support for applied work, biotremology would be a very different space. I would also like to thank National Institute of Biology for providing home to Slovenian School of Biotremology, as well as our Marine Biological Station for hosting this conference. And I'm really happy to share with you that in our group we are really excited because in a year's time, with the rest of the institute, we will move into a new building where Slovenian School of Biotremology won't have only more space, but also some new equipment like 3D laser vibrometer. So we are really glad that we will be able to extend our existing collaborations, and we are really looking forward to hosting you in our new facilities and share with you our new equipment. And last but not least, I would like to thank you, because you online or here with us in Piran, because you are a crucial part of the conference by giving presentations, sharing your ideas and asking questions. I'm convinced that with your contributions, this will be a very successful and productive meeting, and I also hope that it will ultimately result also in greater cross-pollination between research groups. So, again, great many thanks to each of you for attending and making the conference possible.